Hello and welcome to this week's Vision and Voice by the Jefferson Chamber. I'm Todd Murphy and I'm here today with Parish President Cynthia Sheng and Councilman Byron Lee. And I'm happy that you guys joined us today. We want to give you our weekly update as we always do with Vision and Voice. So we'll start today with our Parish President Cynthia Sheng. Well, here we are, May 6th.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Give us a little state of this I was going to say, I don't know what I was going to say, state of this mess. Where are we?
Yes, exactly. So yesterday's numbers, today's numbers didn't come out yet, but yesterday's numbers in Jefferson Parish, 6,491 cases and unfortunately 381 deaths. And it's always hard, you know, their data, it's always just hard to say that without understanding, you know, the sadness that goes along with that. And but we are, we're doing well on many other fronts. You know, I'll say that we're very proud in Jefferson Parish now. We've reached over 26,000 tests. And I think if you look at us per capita in the country, we're some of the highest level of testing, which we know was important as we were gearing up toward this, and now that we're hopefully looking at coming into a phase 1 in May, in the next weeks. The testing is a critical component of that still, just right. to have an understanding of where the virus is in the community and that we can get on top of it right away. Councilman Lee was very instrumental in the Marrero testing site, which was a walk-up site that LCMC sponsored with us. And so, so the whole time we certainly can get tested at the hospital, but we have held up the Alario Center site, and then the walk-up the community sites is sort of a new thing of getting deeper into different communities. And the first one again with LCMC in Marrero that Councilman Lee has been very instrumental on. And then also we're going to work with Oshner and do a Gretna community site tomorrow, Thursday, May 7th, and then on Friday, May 8th at the Kenner Library. So tomorrow, May 7th in Gretna, it's going to be at the regular Baptist Church on 5th Street, 9 to 4. You can walk up, you can park, you can walk up, or it's a neighborhood thing, you can just walk there. And we're going to go from 9 to 4 or until we reach capacity, which is 250 people. It's going to be, you can get your results in 36 hours. And on this testing site, you can be 10 years of age and over. So most other sites were 18 and over, but this one you can be 10 and over.
And we should stress that this is for people with symptoms.
With symptoms, yes. They say with symptoms. And then they're going to ask you for your ID, you know, Louisiana proof of insurance, but don't let that be a deterrent for you. If you don't have an insurance card, you will not get turned away. But if you have an insurance card, they want to take that information, but if you don't have insurance, please go anyway if you're showing symptoms. And then on Friday, May 8th in Kenner at the North Kenner Library, which is close to the Mus Bertolino Complex and the AC Alexander School, right there on West Esplanade. So that's Friday. The same thing, it's that community testing site right there.
Great.
And then I had a great conversation with our Louisiana State Fire Marshal, Mr. Butch Browning, again, as we look at phase 1 coming up in the next weeks, hopefully we'll get there with the data. What I would really like to stress, you know, is that we need to be as a community working on this. You know, there's concerns about our economy, and certainly we know that's a big part of us regaining our footing on this. But it's the responsible business owners that take care of their employees and their customers as well, and really having an environment where customers feel comfortable going there because those safeguards are in place. And I know, Todd, you're going to get on that with the jedco.org, right. You know, the back to business that you all, your group was instrumental on. That is key, is that we need the businesses to create a safe environment, not only on the healthcare front to reduce the virus that we know we're going to get a little bump up once we start stepping out, but to make the employees and the customers feel comfortable that they do patronize these businesses and they are comfortable being customers there. So it's all together. When I keep saying we're a whole community that needs to move together, that's what I mean, is that you have to make your customers feel safe, you know, as well. And so the State Fire Marshal, Mr. Browning, was explaining his compliance role and, in a sense, his enforcement role, and that will be monitored for because we all want to stay safe.
Right.
And so I had a great conversation with him about his compliance checks as we step forward. So that was good, and we'll get more information out with his office. We'll be working a lot in coordination with the Louisiana State Fire Marshal, because they do have the enforcement and the compliance role in this as we move forward. So. Good. Yeah.
Well, as we talked the other day about the business plan, it's really guidelines that are built on common sense, right? It's things that we would all expect in a time like this. of how we would want to be treated going into a business.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of it has to do with wearing the mask.
Yes,
Right.
and I think that's the economic right choice as
Sure.
well. It's
Right.
not just the medical right choice, it's the economic proper choice as well. So,
Yes.
yes.
So we've heard a lot about, you know, through this whole ordeal about hospitals and hospitals being in capacity, and now fortunately they're not, and it's coming back down. What do you say to people that are feeling ill and maybe have reservations about going to their doctor's office or going to the clinic, going to the ER?
Thank you, Todd. So we're hearing that, and I know you're in communication with a lot of the healthcare professionals. You know, we went under a stay-at-home order in March, and you know the medical community had to completely focus on coronavirus. All these elective surgeries and all the routine doctor's appointments were pushed off and delayed. And certainly you can only delay a non-critical issue for so long before it gets to be a critical issue.
Right.
And I think we're butting up against that time. So, you know, the safeguards are there. Your doctor's office is safe, your hospitals are safe. If you need to make those visits, please, now's the time to do so. The census and the amount of coronavirus patients in our hospital is very low right now compared to where we were before. They're restarting up the other healthcare initiatives that they need and doing all the other surgeries that need to happen. And so it's about healthcare, that's what we're all in this for, but not just coronavirus, healthcare and
Right.
prevention, but for all the other aspects that, you know, which we've seen, the comorbidities made this worse.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get on top of those other things as well. So we do
Right.
encourage you, you know, to make that appointment with your doctor, and you know, the doctors are scheduling those surgeries that they've put off, because again, it's gonna start being critical if you put it off too long.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's been long enough, so.
It has been, yes.
Good. So we talked about the back to business plan that we released on Monday. The Jefferson Chamber, along with Jetco, worked closely with the council and your office to put that together. The plan, as I said, is rooted in common sense, yet it also has a lot of specifics. And so I would encourage everyone to go to jeffersonchamber.org or jetco.org, jeffparish.net. Any of our sites have this plan that outlines some of the personal protection equipment that you'll need, depending on, it's broken down industry specific. So if you're in the hair salon business, which I'm ready.
We're all ready.
I'm actually booked for Saturday the 16th. You know, you're required to have a mask and to have gloves and to have a clean smock or apron that you put on everyone, or throwaway aprons. And so each industry has different requirements, and everyone will be phased in over time. So strongly suggest you go look at the plan. It's a very simple plan. I think it's 36 pages, but it's very simple to understand. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach back out to us. The payroll protection plan continues for our small businesses. There's still money available. There's a lot of banks that are still taking applications, trying to help people. There's actually some new legislation in that may help some organizations like chambers of commerce and tourism groups that we weren't included in the first two plans. So we'll see how that rolls out. But the payroll protection plan, the SBA program for working capital loans, that's money that's available to small businesses at 3.75%. And depending on the term, depending on how much money you qualify for, the term can go as long as 30 years. So at that interest rate, I mean, for a corporation, that's free money. So there are a lot of tools out there. There's some state economic development grants available. There's a lot of tools, and all of those resources are at our website. And I'm just amazed still at the people that I run into that say, you know, what's available for me? And it's like, go to our website, you know, because we have so much resources, and you can certainly go on the internet and Google any of those plans. So, and then the other program that we've been working on that we're very proud of is our Bites for Knights, and that's our food program to feed our knights in shining armor, and that's taking food to area hospitals, urgent cares, nursing homes, fire stations, police stations. So, and we're doing some of those on odd times. So Saturday or maybe late night when they're not getting food like they are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And what we're doing is we're running this program through our foundation, so the contributions are tax deductible to the individual or to the business. And then we're utilizing our member restaurants and caterers. So we're giving them some business, and then we're feeding the community. And I think right now, in about 2.5 weeks, we've fed 1,500 people. and they're individually packaged. So it's not big pans of food, it's individual packaged meals that are all safe, and hopefully we're making a lot of people smile by doing that. And that's through the Jefferson Chamber Foundation, but also that information is available through our office and our website. So Byron, I've talked enough, let's talk about you. So Byron Lee, District 3 Councilman from Jefferson Parish, 9 weeks on the job when all this hit, and of course you're no stranger to government and to leadership, but 9 weeks on the job, came in January, and then bam, baptism by fire all over. So but you've been through storms and hurricanes, and so I'm sure this is anything new, but tell us a little bit about what it's like, what the recovery is like, and what you're hearing in District 3.
Well, thank you. I draw back from Katrina in that during that time, I think I was in office, I believe 9 months.
About 9 months, yeah, right.
And
January through August.
yeah, yes, and there are a lot of similarities in that none of us were quite prepared to deal with that onslaught, and acting because this is so different.
Right.
It's even more difficult because you're fighting something that you can't see. And so when we began to receive numbers from the state in terms of the number of cases, we were asking for more specific data. We could not get that information. But when it came out, it only confirmed what I believe, in that you had certain areas, particularly on the West Bank and the rural, you had high incidences of cases, as well as in Harvey and the Woodmere and Old Harvey area. And then also in the South Kenner area, Bunch Village, areas like that, you had a high number of cases. And so when you're in these type of times, you have to be clear in thought and be dedicated to the commitment of serving. And so collectively, we all looked at what we believe were prevalent needs in the community, and one of those things was providing masks in the community, because as I believe from day one, number one, we needed to educate the people, the public, particularly in the hardest hit areas, about this pandemic and how it occurs and the impact that it can have. And then two, we felt that starting a program which we called Operation First Mask would be a catalyst for social distancing, as well as protecting people who may have been positive but didn't know it, from spreading it to loved ones, family members, church members, as well as co-workers. And so I'm proud to say that the cases are going down, but there are still people who are dying from it. And it reminds me again of much like Katrina, where we had people who died from flooding, who died from heart attacks and from other things due to stress. And then you had also other cases where you had people died during months after Katrina, just over the pain and suffering of having lost loved ones, and who were struggling and were really just not prepared to deal with the economics of it all. And so, but we are, I feel that we are doing what we have to do as responsible public leaders, in that we are working and we're creating synergy between Jefferson Parish government as well as the Business Council and JEDCO and others, because Parish President Sheng mentioned about, and you asked her a question about what should we tell people in terms of, well, whether they should go see their doctor or not. Well, first thing we need to tell them is if you need a mask, call our council numbers,
Right.
or
Right.
call the parish president's
Good point.
office, and we'll get you a mask
Mhm.
so that you are comfortable enough to go to see that doctor.
Sure.
Because we need you to take care and protect yourself.
Right.
And so, at this time, everything, in my opinion, is intertwined, in that we're meeting the needs of the public, and I believe that in the long run, we will see commerce begin to come back in a robust manner. But in order for that to occur, we all have to have that confidence. Everyone has to have that confidence. And if we are sharing enough information about the good things about Jefferson Parish, and the good things about in terms of access to money, access to funding through the various sources, then we have to do that, because that builds confidence. At one time, I didn't quite understand when people say consumer confidence is at all-time high or all-time low.
Right.
I'm old enough now where I understand
Right.
that. And so that just simply means I'm comfortable enough to go and spend money,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm comfortable with all of my decision making. And so that's what we have to do. We have to build confidence.
Through health and safety.
Yes.
Right. Are you, I should say, aren't you thrilled that, here we are 15 years later than Katrina? There are a lot of similarities, but the technology is so much greater.
Yes.
Just in terms of being able to get the data, to get the information, to have the internet, to have the Facebook. We learned how to text after Katrina, if you recall.
Right, absolutely.
And that was the old way.
Right.
You had to press the button 3 times to get a C.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But there was just so many things we didn't have there because of technology. And I was in banking then, and told the story recently that the parish didn't have direct deposit, and we were trying to figure out how to get all the parish employees, maybe if you recall. And so we've come a long way with
Right.
technology, but at the same time we are fighting something, as you said, we can't see, and that makes it all the more challenging. So,
Yes. Yes.
anything that either one of you would like to add to our viewers?
No, Todd, I just want to thank you. The business
Sure.
community is a real partner for us, and as Councilman said, we're the lines of communication and the synergy that we're building is so very critical. And I'll just say it again. I know these relationships we have for a new day for us is just going to be stronger for the next project we take on.
Right.
That is not coronavirus.
It's not virus,
right?
right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, we appreciate the leadership of the 2 of you and the entire council, and I know all your employees some of them are here, some of them are working home, but everybody's working hard to get through this and get us back up and running, and hopefully that day is coming very soon from an economic standpoint. So in the meantime, stay safe.
Yes.
And thank you for tuning in today for Vision and Voice, and we'll be back next week with Councilman Dominic Impastato.